Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Wednesday, April the 14th, 2021, and I wanted to come on here. I plan to bring you up to date on my commentary about what I think about the Real Housewives shows. Tonight, I will be taking notes on the Real Housewives of New Jersey and bringing that to you tomorrow. And I need to get caught up because I still want to do my Married to Medicine piece. As I shared in a previous video, I'm studying for a very important exam that I have coming up. So I have to pass it to work. So I wanted to just come on here though, because speaking of work, in my EEOC video that I previously premiered, and not anyone was there other than me, of course, because this is still a brand new venture for me. I'm hoping to really grasp and target the attention of an audience of people who are working for corporate America and other companies and may have some issues that they can come on here and talk about live whenever I am having these particular commentaries. And also that they can comment on, just so that they can know they are not alone. What I'm about to tell you, many of you are going to say, how can that be? She must be delusional. Who would do that? I have a lot of stories about companies right here in the South that I have worked for, and some of you might believe them because maybe some of you were in your own workplaces or workspaces. Maybe you've participated in some of these issues that I'm going to be talking about that happened to me, and if you did, I hope it will soften your heart for people that you don't know in the workplace, and you never know what people are going through, and to just create havoc for someone that you don't know, because the reality is when you go to work, unless those people come home with you, you don't know them. So here I go. And this is a hard one to tell because this is actually the first type of this particular issue that has really ever happened to me. In my last video, I said I was going to name the company. I'm going to say the name of the company one time, and throughout the video I'll just say the company. The name of the company is Amerigas. They sell propane to residential customers, and they also do some business activity as well. I went to work for them, and there were two people at the company who did not like me. One was a W male and the other one was a W female. They immediately did not like me. I believe they did not like me because I can come across as an intelligent black woman, and there are some W's who don't like that. They really don't. They don't like even if you question them or their behaviors. They have an issue. So we were taking a test, and the test was multiple choice, and the test was testing our knowledge about the position that we were about to take. There were like 50 questions, maybe 100 questions. I made an 80. I don't know what they made, but as we were going back through the questions, they wanted to rearrange every question almost that was on the test because they missed those questions. And so me and my big mouth, I go, I got this question right. So this is a question that it's similar to what they would ask you on the GMAT, which is Graduate Management Admissions Test. For those of you who may not be aware, that is a test that people take who are, they're required to take it if they're going to be admitted to a school or university to work on their master's in business administration, or even their executive master's in business administration. They have now, I believe in Georgia, there are certain schools you can get an EMBA, that's executive master's in business administration, but then for the most part it's an MBA. So I made the comment that these are questions that appear, not these questions in particular, but the way the questions were phrased, that's how they would phrase them on the GMAT. And the person who set up the test, he's educated, so I'm thinking, okay, he knew what he was doing when he was setting up the test. And so my objection to rearranging the way the questions were asked did not sit well with those two people. So that's one issue. I know my phone. In another issue, in a different meeting, one of the managers expressed his disdain for Cam Newton. You can't do that to me, okay? I am a Panthers fan. I was when Cam was there, and I absolutely love Cam. I thought he was a great quarterback, whom I believe missed out on a huge Super Bowl. And a lot of people, we all think that Super Bowl was rigged to some degree, but I digress. At any rate, when this particular manager expressed his disdain for Cam Newton, I wrote in the chat, I love Cam Newton, because I do. He looked at me and rolled his eyes. This was a Caucasian manager. He didn't like me from that point on at all. And he was the one who would, what do I want to say here, trailblaze the firing that the company started against me. He and this other manager, Misty. But another incident with the company is the manager that I had before, Misty. He had made a phone call to me and expressed that he thought that I was aggressive and annoying. He said that to me. He said that the two people who didn't like me, which were the W male and the W female, thought that I was aggressive and annoying. But before he told me that, I had shared with him my thoughts about how they were treating me during the training, how rude they were to me, and some of the things they said against me, during the training. I had expressed that to him. So whenever he brought this to my attention, I said to him, well, I'm not aggressive, I'm not annoying, I'm not frustrated, because he also accused me of being frustrated. I said, but in the same way that you just shared those sentiments to me, that they feel about me, I've shared these things with you, and I want you to go and have a conversation with them that's how they're making me feel as well. Because I shared those things with you before you even told me this over the phone. He didn't want to do it. He even tried to overtalk me and be like, no, that kind of talk. He didn't want to even go there. So that being said, those things were all from the W's in the workplace coming against me. Moving forward, I received a phone call from a black male through the company's portal, and he told me that he knew that the W male had an issue against me. He could tell. I didn't even tell him. I didn't say anything to him. This was a person I didn't even know, the black male. I didn't know him. He picked up, he called me, and he said those things to me. And then he began to tell me other things. And And I started to wonder, how does he know these things? Because he was brand new. And he kept saying to me, he's on my side. And I'm thinking, I just started here. How do I now have a side? It was just so bizarre to me. And I didn't believe him, because I really I've seen in the past with some other companies that I've worked with that I'll talk about later, where they will really graft in the blacks in the workplace. When they are after one black, they will galvanize other blacks mentally. They will galvanize those blacks and get them, against this person. And I was that person, right? And so that's kind of how I saw him. So I did not really trust him. Long story short, the company began, this is what they did, and this is the part that is going to be difficult for many of you to believe. And these were not test calls, because I expect companies to send you test accounts or test calls to see how you will handle them. I expect that, every now and again. Every single call, I've recorded them and I've documented them. Every single customer that came through my line was an employee. And the employee was a QA person or a manager, and they even had their attorney act as a customer. The company's attorney acted as a customer. They isolated me, meaning they would remove all of my coworkers from around my name in the lineup, the morning lineup, which is where we're all supposed to be so we can see who's at work. They isolated me and changed my entire screen. Every call that came through to my line was an employee. It was not a customer. I later learned that my line was not even connected to the company network, that it was connected to the network that went into the QA process of calls coming through to me. So, and I called back some of the numbers, I've had them investigated. The numbers, the customers don't even exist at those numbers that were investigated. The customers that I documented and recorded don't even exist. Some of the numbers went into just a hollow sound. No one ever answered. But when I was there, if I called back the number, the same person would answer, or another person would answer and say that person wasn't home. It was just, that's what they did to me, this company. And I am going to say their name again, Amerigas. The other side of this coin is, because I believed that I had been racially discriminated against, that I had been targeted, I reported that to the EEOC. The EEOC told me that it would be 3 months before they could even file my charge to notify the company that I had filed the charge. I had to press them to get them to do it sooner. And when they did, the lady who eventually called me, because her email was given to me and I emailed her, when she called me, she was abrupt, she was rude, and she was prejudgmental. She didn't even want to take my charge. And then she finally said, you know what, let me just go ahead and take it. Let me just go ahead and take it. And then right after I shared with her, because I shared with her more than I'm sharing with you. I was on the phone with her for over an hour. And I gave her the details. And I even told her about the evidence that I had. No one at the EEOC even requested the evidence that I had. But on that phone call that I had with her, after I told her this and much more, she began to tell me that she was not going to file the charge, or led me to believe that she wouldn't do so, right? And I'm going to have to stop this and come back because I have something in the oven. Just one moment. Oh goodness, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Actually, let's do this here. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so I got to the part where I was telling you about the lady who had taken the charge at the EEOC. And this is what really stuck out to me as well. And that is, oh my gosh, my dress is a mess here. That is that the sequence, you need to pay attention in your life, or when you're dealing with someone, when you're trying to get some things accomplished. Understand the processes and understand the sequence of how things are actually playing out. Because she took my charge and told me that she was going to set it up in the portal for me to sign, and if I had some editing, then I could come back and have her edit it. So I did need some things edited. I did that. I went into the portal and I signed the charge, and she told me she was going to send it out to them like the next day, like within that week it was going to be sent out to them, right? So that's one sequence, right? This is a company who had not contacted me. In fact, they ignored my internal reports about the things that had happened to me there. They ignored them. I made internal ethical complaints, and especially about the calls coming through my line and everything. And I'm being succinct with this whole story because they did end up writing me up. This is what happened. Instead of them replying to my internal ethics complaints against what was happening to me, they would pay me back with a write-up. So I would document my concern. First of all, I had not received received any feedback. I had not received any feedback on my work or anything. So I documented that in the ethical process, internal process. A week later, they wrote me up. And then they continued their behaviors against me. So I documented it again, ethically, internally. The next week, they wrote me up again. And so I could kind of course, see where that was going. Okay? So they ignored everything that I had submitted to them. And so I want to come back around to the EEOC process, because what happened with her was after she told me she was going to submit my charge, she never submitted it. Well, not never. What happened was I gave her a call like the following week, because this was a company who had not reached out to me for anything. They didn't even reach out to me to get their equipment. I had to reach out to them to tell them to come and get their two, because it was a, what do you call it? I had two computers. I forgot what they called. Dual monitors that they had sent to me. They didn't even call me to get that. I had to call them. I had to reach out to them to say, you know, when can I send this to you? You know, and then they replied. So, which is really funny, because on the day that they terminated me, they were supposed to call me that very day. The HR person said, I'll call you to, you know, tell you how we'll get the monitors to you. She took my number and everything, never called me. Okay, so, and she was one of the people in the background, because I have to tell you, let me back up a little bit. The calls that were coming through to me, I could hear the person in the background dictating to the caller, and it was her, the HR person. Which was weird, because on the screen her name said one thing, but whenever I finally talked to her over the phone, she gave me a different name. And she said, I was the one in your meeting, your termination meeting. And I'm going, oh, that's not the name that you had on the screen. So anyway, and I know that I'm kind of rattling on here, but I wanted to kind of put this out here because I've been saying I was going to do it. So anyway, with the EEOC person, what happened was, in between the time she told me that she was going to file the charge and the time that I actually called her back, which was like a little over a week later, I received a letter from the company, right? So that's why I was calling the EEOC person, was to update her and say, listen, I received this letter from the company telling me they've investigated and they found had no findings to what I was saying to them. Of course, they're going to say that, right? Okay, I expected that. But the funny thing is, whenever I told her about that, at that time, she told me, she said, well, I was just about to file that charge. You were supposed to file that charge over a week ago. So it's almost as if she had been in touch with them, because over the phone, with me, whenever I called her, she was kind of poking fun at what I told her that the company had said to me about asking questions. She goes, no, but you asked too many questions. No, that's not why you asked too many questions. It's like she was mimicking me. And then she asked me a question about one of the people, whether or not that person had been terminated. And I'm going, why are you asking me that? You know? Because the reality is, I think that person had left the company or been terminated or something. So the fact that she said that to me made me think she had definitely talked to the company, because she said the specific name of the person, and she said, well, haven't they left the company? So that let me know she had been in touch with the company, which makes her complicit with the company, and that's unethical for the EEOC to do that, you see. If she's going to be in touch with the company, she's supposed to at least let me know that. But she was like, oh, no, I haven't been in touch with them. Yes, you have. That's why you waited late to file the charge. And then 2 days after she filed the charge, I get a letter from the EEOC telling me the case had been dismissed. And they gave me a right to sue letter. Tell me I had the right to sue, but they're not going to do anything, basically. So I wanted to move forward and document my concerns against her, right? And I learned that the EEOC really doesn't have a boss. Meaning there's no federal agency that really oversees the EEOC. Everything is within the confines of whatever district it is in. So if I had an issue, I would have to write to the director of the EEOC that is in the location where I filed the charge. But in terms of me documenting a full-on ethical issue against the EEOC, I would not be able to do that. I even contacted my senator's office. They gave me a link And the link, whenever I contacted the people at the link, they said that they don't oversee the EEOC. It's kind of its own embodiment. So I just wanted to put that out here today, just a little something, something. If you have any questions, any specific questions, you can ask me in the comment section. If you want to do a live chat on this, we can do that as well. But just let me know what you think about this story, because I have more. This is really a very succinct synopsis of the whole picture. And I feel like I've left some things out, but I wanted to just kind of put this out here for you today. And anyway, just comment on it, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and click the notification bell. And, just let me know what you think. And thank you for listening to me. Bye-bye.